So, last week we talked about what if the world ever was attacked by aliens, or what if people had to deal with extraterrestrial threat. Now, folks who are joining us, we are talking about what nature can do in the horror genre. When the things out in the woods or under your bed that are not monsters, but maybe spiders or worms or some sort of natural element of the animal kingdom, has joined the horror genre. Welcome back, everybody. And boo. So yeah, welcome back, everybody. It's your buddy Orange Hat here to bring you another theme stream for Tuesday, episode 44, Horror Thoughts on Nature Horror. We're going to be delving into movies and thoughts on what they provide. Movies like Jaws, Peter Benchley's The Beast, another Peter Benchley because Jaws was of Peter Benchley, Hitchcock's The Birds, Anaconda, Lake Placid, Orca. Folks, these were movies that were done essentially to make people afraid of nature, however, also to respect the elements of nature. And there are many, many other movies, but we're going to focus on these six because these were six movies that I have seen enough times that I didn't really need to rewatch them in order to do this stream. Horror elements, especially nature, have a psychological aspect because these are unlike aliens. It is a lot more possible that you would have to deal with these sort of elements when it comes to horror and when it comes to being out in the woods or being or dealing with any sort of natural predator. And Orca was similar to Jaws, but was a much more smarter animal than a great white shark. But yeah, folks, a lot of these are interesting because one thing, I mean, take Jaws. Everybody loves Jaws. And it's one of the older movies. Hitchcock's Birds came before Jaws. And it's like, what if nature decided to turn on people? What if nature decided that people were enemies? And therefore, the animals, even though we are capable of killing these animals, we have hunted and whatnot. What if they did get the higher ground? What if they did get the best of us? You know, it's an interesting thing to contemplate because it's not so much a what if, but when if. Because if you look at it, shark attacks happen all the time. Every year, somebody is attacked by a shark. Every year, somebody is afraid to go in the water. Every year, somebody who is swimming in the ocean or in a river that is connected to the ocean has to wonder, am I about to feel a very sharp pressure on my legs tearing and feel the cutting of teeth slicing into my bones? Jaws was a psychological horror as much as a natural horror, folks, because Jaws, basically, you didn't see the shark until the latter or the third act. I mean, sure, you saw a little bit of it during the second act during the attack in the 4th of July. But when it came to the third act, that's when you got a real good look at Bruce. And before then, it's all psychological. Oh my God, this piece of pier that just broke off is heading right back towards the guy that just fell in the water. Take my word for it, Charlie. Don't look back. Swim, Charlie, swim. Now, obviously, there are elements that are unrealistic in these movies. Anacondas do not go seeking death upon humans all the time. Birds, while sometimes they do fly into windows, do not go after humans without reason. The birds, the movie, there seemed no rhyme or reason for all these different birds to be attacking people. Movies like Lake Placid, where they had not to deal with not dealing with a shark, but rather a crocodile. You're not safe on land or sea if one of those puppies are coming or are in there. And it's an Asian crocodile in a U.S. area. And this thing is a giant. But then you also have an orca or a male orca who went after a fisherman due to the fact that the fisherman caught a female orca, and due to it being killed, forced its unborn fetus out of its body, in which it also was killed. And the male orca saw that. It's like, you killed my mate, you killed my child, I will terminate you. I will make your life a live-in hell. I will tear down your home. Your home is over there. I will go over there and I will tear it down. Yeah, watching that orca movie, folks, these animals are smart. Orcas are clever. So are dolphins. Back in the 70s, and also in the script of this movie, you don't really know how smart, because people didn't realize just how smart they were. They assumed they were smart, but they also assumed that they were bloodthirsty predators, which isn't the case. When Anaconda came out, there was a craze for that movie, folks. But the wonderful thing about the Anaconda film was, how would a human handle such a threat? A snake that can move so fast is also extremely powerful and long and thick. It's the heaviest snake on the planet. It's the biggest snake on the planet currently. Not the longest. No, that's the reticulated python. The anaconda, however, is the biggest. Not longest, biggest, widest, girthiest. And these movies make you wonder, am I safe to go in these areas? Am I safe to go to South America where the anacondas are? Am I safe to go in the water, in the ocean, where there may be things like a giant squid or a great white shark or an orca or maybe even a crocodile? One must wonder, where or is it safe to go out among these places? Because you never know. Shit, you could run across a bear like the one in Grizzly who saw its cub get killed. And it went on a murder spree. It went to kill those people it deemed a threat. Is it safe to go out when birds are congregating around several different areas where where these birds can fly at you and peck at you and claw at you? Is it safe? The question is not what if it happens. Again, the question is when it would happen. Is it possible that it can happen? Absolutely, it is possible. You go down into South America, trying grabbing a anaconda when you're not skilled, you're going to find out that thing's dangerous. When it wraps around you, every time you try to breathe, it's going to get tighter and tighter. Sharks, blood in the water, they're coming. If you're bleeding, you're a meal. Crocs are definitely ones that scare me, but seeing a lot of birds around certain area, yeah, freaky. Wonderful thing here, man. When it comes to, let me drop Jaws for a second. when it comes to crows and ravens, they have funerals. They have congregations. They congregate. There was a woman who who was out and about amongst a bunch of crows, saw that there was a bunch of crows around, and decided to do an experiment. She then bought a dead crow from a taxidermist, stuffed crow, and put on a mask with different hair and walked into the same park. Those crows that were up in those trees were livid. They were giving mournful cause. They were also showing distress. So when the woman left with the dead crow and she came back with just the mask and not the dead crow, those crows were livid that that person was there again. So yes, a lot of people give animals so little credit for their intelligence. Crows, ravens are incredibly intelligent. Animals have such an instinct that humans can never match. Neozoic, good to see you. Howdy, Orange, and the good folks in the chat won't be able to stay on the stream, but I hope everybody is doing okay and enjoy the stream. Good day, good luck, peace out, and stay safe, my friends. You too, Neozoic. Thank you for coming in, and make sure that you smash that like button. Now, there's a particular clip I saw, and there was a huge flock of ravens around an abandoned grocery store. Saw it on Twitter once. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize these things, when they're around, it usually means something. Could be an omen. Could mean there's something shiny that they really like. Crows and ravens, they love the shiny stuff. And they like to build their nests. They are kleptomaniacs. But yes, the horror element that nature provides. I mean, when you look at, let me go back to the thingies. Peter Benchley's Beast. I remember seeing that way back in the day. Let me tell you something. When they're hunting that down, when they finally see the thing and they kill a 20-foot squid, and then in the second half of the movies, because these were those two-part movies, folks. These were those two-part movies. And the first time they finally killed that little squid, or that 20-foot squid, and they're like, oh my God, we finally killed it, man. We killed it. Holy crap, we killed it. And then as they're hauling that thing back, you see that buoy go down, and then you see Mama Squid come up, and it's like, they didn't kill it. What the hell did they, oh Lord, what happened? And then you realize, oh my God. They find out, the experts are like, they don't expect, or they think that this thing is like maybe 1 to 2 years old. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, wonder what? Well, if this thing's a baby, where's its mama? And then you see, because they put it in a intake area that connects to the ocean, where it's cut off from the ocean, but also connects with the ocean. Well, Mama Squid came calling, nearly killed a woman who was just going in and wanted to touch the baby. And it's like, yeah, Mama comes in, and then you see the size comparison. You got like a 80-foot squid cradling its baby because it's freaking dead. And it's like, how can this thing not want vengeance? There's a beautiful line from the expert right here, folks. The guy, not William Peterson, but the other guy opposite the woman. It's like, or he's a squid expert. Let me get rid of this thing. And he's like, a few years ago, I saw a German Shepherd skip 4 highway lanes of traffic to go after a person who had struck his owner years earlier. And the Architeuthis, because he calls it the Architeuthis because that's the scientific name of a giant squid, that I had come across in Finland, that I accidentally roped and netted turned around and attacked the very net that it had just escaped from. And this one, my God, its child had been murdered. How could it not want vengeance? So, yeah, there's also the aspect of poor human judgment in these movies, where there's the rich guy that wants to capture this thing alive. And so um instead of putting cyanide in the needles and shit, well, no, they put phenobarbital, which is a sedative. And well, yeah, that guy gets killed, and unfortunately the other guy, the expert, gets killed, and it's then just the girlfriend and William Peterson who survive. William Peterson was doing CSI during these times, and he was quite the name. He was building up quite the name. He also did Fear with Wahlberg and Witherspoon. And so, yeah, he had a good run. But yeah, when it comes to these things like Jaws, you're dealing with the psychological aspect of, do I dare go in the ocean to swim? Will I come across one of these giant sharks? Now, chances are you might not come across a shark as big as this one. I mean, that's basically the size of a megalodon. Where you might, however, come across a shark that is 20, 30 feet. You may come across other species of sharks, hammerheads, makos, tigers. Come across a tiger shark, yeah, God help you. Those suckers will eat anything. Have you seen a film called Deep Blue Sea? Of course I have. All three sharks die in the same way as the sharks in Jaws 1, 2, and 3. Yep. But yeah. These sharks, folks, when it comes to shark movies or terrors of the deep or terrors out in the woods, bears, mountain lions, tigers, lions. I mean, look at the movie The Ghost in the Darkness, which I did with Mara Jade. That's a horror movie, but it's also based on real events that happened in the 1890s. Two man-eating lions. The real looking lions weren't that intimidating looking, but the ones in the movies, their roars raised your hackles. And they were slaughtering humans. They weren't just going for food, killing for hunger and whatnot. No, they killed because they enjoyed it. And that was the truth of those lions, or the real Savo man-eaters. What if nature decided to act in opposition to what its normal pattern usually is? The Savo man-eaters are a good example of that. They were attacking people without or provocation. They got a taste for blood. They got a taste for murder. Now, a lot of people say that you don't see other animals killing others for money or other reasons or malice. Except there are those flukes in nature, folks, where an animal will kill you out of malice. The Savo man-eaters are the one very good example of it. But there's also, took me minutes to log in. Sorry, Bob. But hey, that's what the replay is for. But yeah, these movies, folks, when you see, or a lot of this stuff is based on vengeance or malice. But there's also a human element to them where you understand it's an animal, it's a living thing, and it's acting on instinct. Well, when you have a crocodile and you have a nature nut, I mean, some of these movies provide good comedy as well. I mean, arachnophobia. I mean, it's not up here. I wish it was, but I didn't put it up here. Oh well. I mean, what if there was a spider that had been long isolated in and unchanged over millions of years? What if there was a spider that finally escaped that containment, mated with a common house spider in a rural American town, and had such deadly offspring drones? And then after that's or the female would mate with another of its own and create an aberration of more lethal spiders that could also mate and pass on its lethality. Talk about a very scary concept, folks. And thank you, Vanya. This has been with me for a few years, actually. But yeah, um, imagine coming across that kind of scenario. You're living in a middle America country area. People are dropping dead. You're seeing that there's spider bites, but no spider around that you know of is that lethal, that you're dying in seconds of being bit. Can you imagine living with the fear of that kind of terror would bring in a town? People are dying left and right. There's a panic of killer spiders. I'd be kind of wondering myself, you know? You got other movies where shit like Cujo, you know? You have other movies where I mean, sci-fi went nuts, folks, with nature horror. Frickin' Boa 2, Anaconda 2 through 5, Anaconda versus Sharktopus, and all sorts of crazy shit. Peter Benchley at least kept it interesting. I mean, especially when Peter Benchley did Creature. It was about a shark that had human DNA put in it. And these people were doing some horrifying experiments, like combining shark DNA and dolphin DNA, creating a shark dolphin hybrid. But then there's also the other one that created or that would evolve on its own after it had some DNA juiced into it. And it just kept on evolving to the point where it grew arms, it grew legs, and then it grew lungs. A shark that was becoming human-like. Jaws isn't as big as Megalodon. No, you're absolutely right. Then you also have the Megalodon. What if there is a shark out there that is 70 feet long, bigger than life, and able to bite a frickin' great white in half? Just imagine that kind of terror coming up. Or, like in the Meg 2, the Trench, where you had that giant Kraken. The Kraken Unleashed. What if mosasaurs ever came back? You know, like in Jurassic World. Can you imagine what would happen if there was a mosasaur in our oceans? How it's attacking or how it would attack fish boats, surfers. I mean, I absolutely love that shot where there's this monster wave and you see the mosasaur coming in or inside that wave. It's like, oh shit, you know? It makes a person wonder but when it comes to nature that we know is still alive, because there's no way that a megalodon is alive today, folks. As much as I would love to see a megalodon in real life, I doubt a megalodon truly exists in the water today. Because you would see a massive difference in our ecosystem. But when it comes to great whites that are bigger, Oh, yes, there are some bigger 20, 30-foot whites that are males, females. Deep blue is a good example of how, or of a very large female. And she was definitely one that would, I wouldn't want to go near, you know? But yeah, when it comes to things like bears, how they will handle a person if their young is endangered. I mean, put yourself in their shoes. What would you do if your child was abused or mangled or injured by a person or by persons? Would you not seek vengeance in the most primal part of your mind? Yes, the most primal part, your animal instinct would be screaming, kill, frickin' maim, destroy. But in these cases, when it comes to like the movie Jaws, it's just a shark that staked a claim off an island, was just eating for food, wanted food, decided to claim some swimmers. Most of these animals are operating on animal instinct, not malice. But how can you stand against something that doesn't want to kill you but can still kill you? You know? It makes one wonder. Can you survive something that has no or doesn't want to kill you because it hates you, but will kill you because you're in its territory, or you're a threat to its territory, or you killed its baby? Nature is unsympathetic, folks. Sympathy is unknown by nature. That is a saying out there. Author unknown. Sympathy is unknown by nature. And if a person, or say a baby, a human infant child was out in nature and a starving pack of wolves came in, tore that baby apart, the rest of nature would not mourn. As horrifying as that scenario is, folks, the rest of nature would not mourn. And if that baby was unattended, oh, eight-legged freaks, of course I have, but I'm not going to the monstrous sized things. That's going to be saved for next week. When I do monsters, I'll include like megalodons, eight-legged freaks, and other shit like that. When you're dealing with actual monsters, wendigos, vampires, werewolves, even the bigger natural beasts and whatnot. These creatures but in nature, the ones that are out there that can kill you. I remember USA, the channel USA, they used to do all sorts of summer movies, like ones with rattlesnakes being forced out of their area, and special hybridized rattlesnakes. Sci-fi used to do all sorts of cool shit. It was insane stuff, folks. It was truly insane stuff. And it just makes you wonder, what would you do in these situations? If you had to contend with nature having a grudge against you, how would you handle it? Would you be afraid because you don't understand the wrath of what you have just invoked? How could you stand against something such as that? You're part of a swimming expedition or a hunting expedition or a fishing expedition. Giant squid comes up on you and you fucking murder that thing because you thought, or you think that could be the monster that's plaguing your town. Well, sure, it is of the same species as the monster that was plaguing the town. However, you just killed a baby version of it. The thing is 20 feet, sure, y'all thought the nightmare was over, but inadvertently, due to ignorance, you made the nightmare worse. Because now mama is pissed off that her baby was just murdered by the locals of this area. She's not leaving until you're all dead. So it's either you move out of your town, get away from that water because mama's there, or you find somehow, some way to stop her because unfortunately she will not leave you alone. And yes, that's a fishing town. You'd be losing all your revenue. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it, folks? How do you contend with wrathful nature and the beasts therein? How can you stand in the way of millions of years of animal instinct and hope to survive? Now, yes, you could have your guns, you can have your knives, you can have your machetes. You can say, oh, I'll just shoot it, I'll just stab it, I'll just slice it, I'll just do this or that. Then comes the time when when it's up in your face, when it's very possible that this thing is going to frickin' find you in the middle of the night when you're sleeping, rip you out of your tent, and frickin' maul you to death. Possibilities, folks. As the last one was what if, because, well, we haven't seen a hostile alien nature come down here yet and invade our planet. This one's not the what if, this is the when if. Very possible. I hear there were underwater drones who got bitten and the holes corresponded with what a megalodon would leave. I mean, it's possible that they possibly could be alive, but they are kept down below, so far down on the bottoms that they can't really come up. There's not been a confirmed sighting of a megalodon ever. Sure, you might see these things, a little bit of a movement in the water here or there. That's all you ever see, though. When are you going to see a real fucking one? You know? When are you going to actually see it definitively? But yeah, it's insane, isn't it, folks, to think that nature can harm you and kill you. It's not insane to really think about it, because going down to Australia, almost everything in nature can kill you. You got your drop bears, your koalas. They'll give you the clap, or they'll bite you. You got platypuses that look, oh, that is so cute. Oh, fuck, this thing just stung me. Oh, shit, that fucking hurts. Because it clicked its spur on you and venomated you. Spiders that are fucking like this big. Huntsman spiders, which are mostly non-aggressive, from what I hear. But then you also have the funnel webs, the Sydney mouse eaters and whatnot. And most of the 10 deadliest snakes are also down in Australia, like 6 or 7 of them. I mean, there's also a movie that was called Snakehead Terror that was done by Sci-Fi Channel about the Chinese snakehead. And they embellished a little bit, sure. And they showed, well, that these things could come out of water, move around without the aid of water going through their gills for a time, and move into another area and slaughter the life. They have voracious appetites. They call them the Frankenfish. Those are dangerous, folks. There was a guy that had a snake head in Syracuse when I was living down there, and animal control came in and killed it. It's like, you are not bringing an invasive species into this town. It's either going to be food or it's going to be dead. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Also, if you think that all this is bad, you think it's just the venomous stuff or the things with the big claws and the big teeth and all that stuff. You've never seen pissed off squirrels, have you? Where squirrels are so pissed off at you because you're mowing your lawn, and they'll throw things at you. Last week, I was mowing the lawn, and, well, I was in the shade because it was cooler in the shade to do it. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that there was a squirrel up there that was kind of very pissed off. And so I was feeling things hitting my head, hitting my hat and stuff, and it's like, what the hell is that? And it turned out there's a squirrel up there. And it's like, okay, back off. What's going on? I didn't see if it had a little one up there or anything, but I'm guessing that was probably a pissed off mama. She was mad because little one got a little scared. Imagine if I had accidentally killed the baby. Mama would attack. A squirrel would go after me. They know loss. They know grief. They know anger. They're just like us emotionally. And people honestly don't give enough credit to animals. I've seen a deer watch kids play soccer. And then after the kids left, this deer goes down and puts the ball in the net and does a little dance of celebration, celebrating that it scored. Interesting that animals can learn from humans, but we're unwilling to learn from animals. Because you know what? Animals far effective hunters than we are. We require guns, traps, and other things to hunt. Animals go out and do the hunting. They do the running, the grabbing, the chewing, the chomping, all of it. We are more sophisticated. We'll gut, we'll strip, we'll skin, and then we'll cook and eat. Animals, they just go all in, raw. Now, humans obviously can't really handle the raw diet. We're no longer that primitive. But yeah. So when it comes to these kind of movies where you are dealing with a force of nature that is a beast or birds or snakes, crocodiles, whales, sharks, spiders, bobcats, snakes. Well, I already said snakes. When you're dealing with all that stuff, folks, many people are like, oh, if I came up with that, I'd just kill it in a heartbeat. Would you, though? I mean, sure, I could talk a big game about having or going up against a bear, but what if a fucking bear did come up against me? You know what I'm going to do? Probably shit myself. Probably piss myself. Because I realized, oh shit, this creature is stronger than me. I mean, I might get a few good licks in, but I'm definitely not going to live through the whole thing. Arrows? Sure. Kill it from a distance. Very honorable. But yeah, folks, these movies are great because they freaking make you confront what is possible. When you have extraterrestrial movies like alien movies and whatnot, sure, that's gonna tantalize the creative side of your mind that will scare you and such. But when it comes to nature, in closing, when it comes to nature, it's not what if, it's when if. It's when if possible. Can these things or will these things possibly come at you? Did you ever accidentally hit an animal with your car? What's going to happen if, well, you accidentally killed a baby version of that animal with your car and you live close by? It does make one wonder. It's going to make that animal's parent stay closer around and whatnot. I'll tell you that much right now. That animal's going to be looking at you like, you killed my baby. I'm going to hate you. And if possible, I'm going to try to kill you. It's going to make your life miserable. I'm sure that if you look up stories of animals acting out against humans, you'll probably, the truth is about a lot of those is the human did something to piss it off. They don't just come out unprovoked. Animals tend to encroach in human territory when they are most, or when it's their own territory was encroached on by humans. Take a place down in Syracuse, there was a land development that happened over the winter, was when that stuff was being built, just as the animals were going into hibernation. They come out and look at this land that they themselves were using, and it's like, what the hell is all this shit? The bears were coming into the houses. The bears, or people were complaining, there's too many bears here. Well, what the hell did you expect? That bear was using that place for grazing. These animals are going to be looking at this place out of curiosity. It's like, what did you do? Over the Hedge is one of the best freaking movies because it's like, huh, what is this thing? And people don't really understand the underlying stuff like that. So yeah, when it comes to natural horror, there's some of the best stories and also some of the more embellished and I forget the word, but some of the more over the top movies, sure, but then you also have the ones that are not so over the top, that are indeed possible. Jaws wasn't impossible because it was a 25-foot great white that was given a hard time towards these people. It was a rogue male great white that was attacking boats and people because it got a taste for blood. And it understood that boats also had people or had edible things in them that it could eat. So yeah. Anyway, folks, I'm not going hour long for these things. It's going to be more along the 40-ish or 45 minutes of them. But I am going to give you guys the banner of next week's, which is Monsters. This one will be coming up. It'll be vampires, werewolves, Frankensteins, all sorts of stuff like that. You know, the monsters of the mind, the monsters that tickle your thoughts that aren't from outer space, but the ones that can truly, or that were created by man, which Peter Benchley's Creature actually falls more into that. That's why I didn't have it on this one. It was man-made. But anyway, folks, thank you so much to Vanya, to Geek Detective Pierce, to everybody who was on X, and everybody else who was watching, Neozoic as well. Thank you all so much. You all are freaking awesome and amazing folks. I'm going to be heading out soon because I'm going to be spending time with family. And then I'm going to be coming back tonight for the Barroom Podcast on Society Reviews channel, 9 p.m. So look that up. Monday nights are Monday Night Rants. For people who want to rant, come on and bitch about shit. Get that frustration out of your system. So, yeah. Anyway, folks, thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Orange Chat. Y'all have a wonderful day. And always remember, stay humble.